Want to win one of 10 iPads or up to $10,000? It's the 25th anniversary of .com, so tell us how .com has changed your life. Write your story at howdoyou.com and you could win.
Hello, ladies. You are watching Status Update on Butterscotch.com. I'm Jay Goldman, and I'm only pretending to be the Old Spice guy because today we're actually going to take a look at the social media side of the Old Spice campaign. So if you haven't been watching it, maybe you've been living under a rock or your internet connection broke and you just haven't seen anybody talking about it. This all started with a video that got posted up to YouTube. It's called The Man Your Man Could Smell Like. It's had 19 million views now, and it's a hilarious little video. It's a commercial for Old Spice, and it stars a guy named Isaiah Mustafa, who has suddenly been launched into stardom by this campaign. They followed it up with a second video called Questions, also available on YouTube. They had about 10.5, almost 11 million views on that one now. And you got to watch these because they're really just brilliant ads. It's sort of a whole special effects done in camera thing. There's a whole bunch of videos online sort of talking about how they did them. So the agency behind this is called Whedon and Kennedy, and they've also kind of been launched into stardom as a result of this campaign, which everybody's talking about. What we're going to talk about today, though, is something that they did called responses. They went to a studio in Portland, set up shop for a couple of days with a fake shower set, and he actually just started responding directly to people who were commenting through social media. So people who were talking to them over Twitter, over YouTube, over Facebook, anybody who was saying things directly to him, he would actually very quickly shoot a video and they would post it online responding to that person directly. And their turnaround time on these was really, really quick. In fact, quick enough that some people who were more celebrities and had a little bit more reach actually got 1 or 2 videos in response. They kind of went back and forth on them. So amazing campaign, not particularly expensive for them to execute. They actually shot 180 plus videos over the course of the 3 days that they were there. And so some of the numbers on this campaign, pretty impressive in terms of the views that they were getting. They actually had about 6 million views on those videos that they shot, 22,000 comments across these couple of days. So very impressive campaign. And if you're looking for some ideas around how to promote your brand through social media, if you've got kind of a character who's recognizable, you could do something like this. I wouldn't suggest doing exactly the same thing because obviously they've done this before and you don't want to copy them exactly. But really very technically simple, sophisticated system that they actually did here. And so the basic, the behind the scenes is that they set up in the studio. They had a couple of guys in there who were social media and technology experts. They'd written some software that allowed them to pull all these comments from the different sources into sort of one view so they could easily keep tabs on them. And then they would pick off the people. They had a view into kind of how influential those people were so they could decide which ones they wanted to prioritize responding to. And one of the ways you could do that might be, for example, if you're looking at Twitter influencers, you could look at Clout.com to see how much influence those people have. They'd pick the people that they wanted to respond to, shoot the video, and then get them up in a queue. And they actually controlled the order that they went out so they could sort of prioritize which ones were going out next so that people who were watching the whole series of these would be able to see them in an order that was really designed to keep them engaged and keep going through. I think one of the biggest wins they had here, if you've ever come across the 4chan people, that's the number 4, they're a notorious community that goes around basically attacking sort of websites and that kind of stuff. They actually managed to win over the 4chan crowd, which is pretty awesome. So if you go to YouTube and look up the responses in there, you'll actually find the one that's to 4chan, and that's pretty amazing. So the key to this whole thing, though, is Procter & Gamble trusting Whedon and Kennedy enough to let them do whatever they wanted to do with these without having to get approval on every video. And so that would be the lesson that I would give to you as a takeaway. If you want a really successful social media campaign like this, you're going to want to make sure that your client, or if you are the client, that you're trusting the people that you've put in charge of this so that they've got the freedom to be able to go and do this without oversight, because they never would have been able to do this with oversight.
Silverfish hand catch.
It's the 25th anniversary of the .com, which you've probably heard if you've been watching our shows, and so you may be aware that you can go to howdoyou.com, that's howdoyou.com, and you can win up to one of 10 iPads or up to $10,000 just by sharing your .com story. I'm going to talk about YouTube.com this time because it's applicable to the story that we just talked about. Just by looking at the videos that we were talking about today, you would never have been able to get millions of views on something without buying really expensive TV time, and YouTube.com has really shaped the way that we share media and we interact with it. So that's my .com story this time. I'm Jay Goldman. You've been watching Status Update on Butterscotch.com. Go to howdoyou.com and tell us your story, and we'll catch you next time.